What's up, guys? It's the Cheapster, and today we're going to be talking about one of those dirty B words, budgeting. So budgeting is something that I think people don't really do enough of these days. I think budgeting is kind of glossed over. You don't really learn it in school too much, which I think is a waste. I think schools really should teach that more. And it's just something I think that is super important to gaining wealth and keeping your wealth. And it's just not something that people do as much. And I think it's also kind of got a stigma around it that if you're a person who budgets, you're kind of, a poor person. Or some people might think, oh, that's dumb. Like, you have to budget and do your budget. But I think the stigma is just wrong, because I think the people who do budget and keep track of their money are really the people who are going to, have wealth in the end. So I just want to talk about that, talk about budgeting a little bit, what it is, why it's a good thing, why everybody should do it. Most people are really just living paycheck to paycheck when it comes to, their income. And most of that, I would say, is because you don't have a budget, because you don't have any reason to say, okay, why can't I buy this thing that I want? What's the reason I can't? I have money in my account. That's just the wrong way to look at it, because so what if you have money in your account? That doesn't always mean you have the money. And something simple that would fix that would be a budget. So I think that's why you see people living paycheck to paycheck. Why people end up later on in their lives not having saved much money, because they never had a budget that would have forced them to save that money if they actually stuck to it. And this is kind of a thing that I think no matter what you do, whether you are a surgeon or a prominent lawyer or whatever it is, if you make tons of money, it still doesn't really matter, because you can think, oh, I don't have a budget, but I'm going to get a raise, or my career is going to change, and I'm going to make X amount of dollars, and then everything will be fine then. But that doesn't usually matter, because people who don't have budgets continue to not have budgets as they make more money, and you keep building up the things that you spend your money on. So it might seem crazy, if somebody has like a $500,000 income. Well, it's not crazy that there are people out there that spend all that money and don't really save much at the end of the day, because you got kids, you got a family, you got expensive cars, you got an expensive house that just keeps growing and growing. You got to be in this neighborhood, and you're spending X amount of money on a golf club, or or not a golf club, but a club to play golf, whatever it is. There's tons of things that people just spend their money on, and if you have no budget for that, you can just wipe your money out quickly, and that doesn't really matter if you had money or not. It can just happen. It's not really something that matters how much you make. It's something that's important across the board, whether you make a little bit or you make a lot. And next, I just want to say that budgets are not awful. I think people think, oh my gosh, if I have to do a budget, oh, my life is just going to be ruined. I'm not going to be able to have any fun. I'm not going to be able to do what I want. And that's just, it's not true. Budgets really, they're not awful. They don't take away everything from you. And I would actually say, I think they give you a lot of freedom, because you really just don't know what you're spending, what you're doing. There's always that, oh my gosh, what's the amount in my bank account if you don't have a budget? It's actually going to make you feel like, okay, these are the things I can do, and I can stick within these areas to spend my budget and still feel good about it in the end. And I started my budget probably, I don't know, it's been a while. I think 6 or 7 years ago or so. And I remember just not having a budget for the longest time. I didn't have much income when I was in college anyway. But even with starting a budget, even on the small income I did have, changed my life a ton, because I realized, hey, I can make sure that I'm keeping track of it. I remember those days where I was looking at my bank account thinking, okay, I've got $30 in there. Oh my gosh, that's all I got right now. And then there might be bills and stuff that would have come out. So it's good to not have to worry about that now, to know, hey, this is the stuff, as long as I stay within it, that is good. So I've been really happy that I decided to do a budget. I think it's really helped me a lot, just to feel more comfortable about how much I have and what I'm spending it on. I think it's an important part too to talk about how people who don't have budgets, it really is that bank account number is just so important. It's like, oh, you see all the memes with people saying like, oh, it's payday, and you go out and do all these crazy things, and then at the end of the week you're living on like bread and water. Well, if you have a budget, it doesn't have to be that way, because you can say, okay, well, I'm just going to set this money aside because I've got rent due, or I've got loan payments due, or whatever it is. Because some of those things are big, and it's like, okay, well, maybe your rent's like $1,500 a month or something, and you might think, oh, there's $1,700 in my account, I'm loaded, I can go out and like do a bunch of stuff. But it's like, okay, well, you're forgetting about that $1,500, and maybe you got this coming out of there and this coming out. So just trying to stick to the bank account is just stressful. It's very stressful, and I think once people do get into the budget, they realize how much less stress it is in their life to just run that budget. So it's not awful. It's a good thing. It really helps you out. And I think it just really helps you also think about your purchases. I know I've done videos in the past where I've talked about, I think we make a lot of wasteful purchases. I think we sometimes just kind of spend money to spend it. It's not really, it's maybe not even really what we wanted completely. Like if we actually look at the value of what we got to the cost, maybe you look back and say, oh, I really wish I wouldn't have done that. I just did it. And that can happen a lot. So I think when you run a budget, you can say, okay, well, I have, $20 left to the end of the week to spend on entertainment. So is it worth it to me to go out and spend $20 on a burger at a place, or should I go somewhere else, maybe spend 4 times over the week or something? It helps you think through those things. It helps you save your money better. And that's another thing too, where you could say, okay, well, I got 20, maybe I just want to spend 10 on this or that, and then keep the 10 and save it. And the budget's also very important for that. It can help you save money. So you always stick money aside, you always save it first, and then live on the rest of that. And that's something that is very hard to do for most people. And I think when you get into the habit of it, it's really great. And you'll notice your money continues to just pile up if you do that. Even $1 a day can really just add up over time into something. So it might seem so small, but if you budget that out and save it, then it can really become something for you. But the app that I use to budget is called Good Budget app. And I'm going to do a video on it here soon, talking about how that works and a tutorial of it. But that's the app I use, Good Budget. It's in the Apple App Store. It's probably on Android and some of those other phones. I don't know what else there is. I'm an iPhone guy, sorry. But so I know it's on there. And, there's a whole bunch of different apps you can use. Dave Ramsey has, I think it's called Every Dollar. That's his app. And you can also do the envelope system that he recommends, where you put money into it every time you get paid. I'm not a big fan of that. I really like the digital. But if you're somebody who maybe has issues with credit cards or even just debit cards, if swiping plastic doesn't mean much to you, and you don't really feel the pain from it. I definitely feel the pain when I swipe a card. I know the money's leaving, especially when I put it into my budget app manually. I can see, oh, there goes my money. So I feel the pain that way. But if you're somebody who needs to do the cash system, if that helps you out, you can do the cash system. But really, it's not about, I don't think it's about the system as much as it is just doing it. Just get started. And then pick a budget that works for you and stick with it. It's kind of like working out. You find something that works. If you want to lose some weight and you find a workout that's working out for you and it's making you lose weight, good, stick to it. But it's just about starting today. Same way with working out. It's about getting off the couch and getting into the gym. Same with your budget app. Write down your expenses, write down your income, and balance it out to see what you have, see what you can save, and maybe try to make some cuts in areas. Try to make choices better that you can help yourself save more money. I'm actually going to go ahead, I'll put it right here. I'll link a video here about 12 ways to help you save more money. That was a list I put together that I think are just really helpful everyday life ways. These aren't any kind of scams or gimmicks. It's mostly just, normal stuff that you can make choices about every day to help yourself save more money, to help your budget balance a little bit better. So check that out. And, the last thing I want to say on this is time slips away quickly. You can just go quickly without a budget, and next thing you know, it's 10, 20 years down the road, and you're like, hey, I really haven't saved for retirement. I really haven't saved for this or that. We're in a position that I wish we weren't in. That's just the way it works. It can really slip away, and money works the same way. Money can slip away quickly too if you're not paying attention to it. So just start a budget today. Start it today, and start building goals and dreams that you have for what you want to do with that budget, because I think that's the best encouragement you can to doing a budget is dream big, dream about something you want, and try to budget towards it. And it's honestly a pretty awesome thing when you can say, hey, this is my budget. I have a dream that I want to do this, and if I set this budget and I stick to it, I can accomplish it. That's a pretty exciting thing when you get to do that. So start a budget today, and I think it'll really help people relieve some stress in their lives, help them feel more comfortable with where they are. I feel like everybody thinks they need to make more money, but a lot of times I think it's less about making more money and more about doing what you need to do with what you have. So that's what I'd say about budgeting. I hope you guys find this video helpful. If you did, do the cheapest thing you can today, which is to tap that like button and also subscribe to this channel. I do a video every week. That's all I got. Stick to your budget, guys, and stay cheap.
Saving money. That's cheap.